Good morning friends and welcome on behalf of School of Agriculture. Today we are here to discuss about the farm export oriented distance learning programs which are being taken up by the School of Agriculture. Let me introduce first with my faculty which are over here. Myself Dr. S.K. Yadav, working as a reader in School of Agriculture IGNOU, and towards my right hand Dr. Jairaj, who is working as a senior consultant in the School of Agriculture, and my left side Dr. P.K. Jain, who is working as the lecturer in the School of Agriculture. So dear friends, today we have immense pleasure to tell all of you that we are here to discuss about the emerging trend in export in agriculture commodity in the present scenario, what Indian economy is doing. I mean, what is the trend of economy in the present scenario, as well as we are also here to analyze in depth that what are the prospect of Indian agriculture if we see the globalization trend of worldwide in agricultural scenario. So the Indian economy, as we know, that it is growing with very fast pace, but the agricultural export is not matching up with the pace which with the agricultural economy is going. I mean, towards marching towards the globalization. With the agricultural export is not picking up to that extent. There are several reasons behind it. We will analyze all those issues, all those factors which are creating hindrance in our agricultural export. Moreover, the aspect of agricultural export where we can intervene through the providing some curriculum, as we know that IGNOU has got strength in developing curriculum pedagogic method for creating human resource in different aspects. So the IGNOU has thought of creating the manpower in the field of agriculture export through School of Agriculture, where we have collaboration with different international national agencies which are engaged in agriculture exports, and we are also taking care of the real demand from the agriculture from the worldwide about the agriculture export. We are also developing the new aspects where we can intervene in agriculture. We can design the curriculum accordingly, we can train our farmers, we can train our human laborers, human skills, because it's a holistic approach where we have to export something out of our country. There we have to match with the requirement. The country, what is the requirement of that country with respect to that commodity. We have to fulfill those criteria. So for matching those criteria, it is essential to have in-depth knowledge about each and every aspect of export. As we know that agriculture still contributes significantly in Indian economy. If we see the contribution in GDP, it still contributes 20 to 25% in Indian economy. So the contribution of agriculture in terms of export is not so much. I mean, if you see the industrial product or industrial commodity export, our agriculture is not, I mean, the pace is not so fast as we see the industrial export. So we will also analyze the reason behind it, what are the barriers which are creating hindrance, of course, and then we will be describing about the efforts being taken up by our school for developing several programs which are directly export oriented sort of program, where we will be creating human skills. Certification agencies are also taken into consideration, because if we want to export something, the certification is essential for overseas transfer. So all these things we will be discussing here, and the experts which are from, I mean, in both sides of my chair, they will be also discussing each and every aspect in detail. So first of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Jairaj and ask him to please throw some light or describe the aspect of Indian economy at present condition. I mean, how the Indian economy is progressing at present, and how the agricultural production is correlating with the Indian economy progress. So Dr. Jairaj, sir, please.
Thank you. To give to set the pace of discussion today, first we should have a look at the Indian economic growth. lot of things are happening in the Indian economy now. For example, till a few years back, we were always, feeling that no, we are a very poor country, resources are poor, backward country, all those things. But in the last 10-15 years, that picture is totally changed. Now, even the world's best, prediction and forecasting agencies say that India is going to be a, very strong economy in the next 15 to 20 years. For example, at the moment, of course, even in Asia, our economic level is not that very strong. But by 2025, we will be number 2 in Asia and probably number 3 in the world economic level. And this sort of economic growth will also show up on the agriculture sector. But at the moment, the agriculture sector is in it's not a very happy picture about on the agriculture sector now, because we have little problems in agriculture, because while the economy is growing up almost 9 to 10%,
it is said,
10%, the agriculture growth is below 2%.
Yes.
There are a lot of constraints, and of course, the 11th 5-year plan, which is under formation and will be launched next year, it will be rather devote much of its attention to reorienting the agriculture sector and making it a very healthy and vibrant sector, so that the country can sustain a 10% plus growth rate in GDP in the coming years. So, coming to the agriculture sector, say for example, in India is a very classic case in agriculture. For example, we have lot of almost all agroclimatic conditions.
Yes,
we
sir.
can grow a variety of crops, and that is our strength. But we grow so many crops, but we are either marginally surplus or slightly deficient,
Yes, sir.
for our requirements.
Right.
So, if we apply our mind and gear it up little more seriously, we can avoid this situation of shortages and make it a very a perpetually surplus production, and this surplus production we can export. So,
but one thing I would like to say, sir, that if, as you rightly said, that our country is having a diverse climatic condition, diverse soil condition, diverse, say, cropping pattern, everything is there. Of course, we are having the largest, probably, the acreage in agricultural land, because no country has, they proportionally so much field under cultivation. But can you throw some light on the aspect that why the agriculture from our country, agriculture production is not taken up by the other countries, since though we know that if we talk about organic farming, biodynamic farming, these are the aspects of our agriculture which are practiced in our country since long. And it is, I think, the time when the invention of chemical fertilizer and green revolution came, then only we opted this type of changes in our agriculture, where we infused huge quantity of chemical in our agriculture to boost up the production particularly. But can you throw some light, as we know that all except our countries, so many countries are using even more than the our country is using in terms of chemical fertilizer. So what is the reason why we are not able to export our agricultural product to different countries? What could be the answer such type of things?
Yeah, one of the main reasons why we are not yet a very strong agricultural exporting nation is because so far after independence we started reorganizing our agriculture sector.
Yes, sir.
So we had a huge population, and the first responsibility was to feed the population, our own population, and in whatever crop we had some little surplus, we used to export. So it was not a very serious effort, but when the moment we have a assured quantity of surplus production, we can plan for an sustained export in agriculture. So, but here the problem was that in most of the crops, our productivity is much below the world levels.
Yes, sir, world average level.
World levels. And that too, I would say that I have personally I feel that why the Indian agricultural productivity is low, because we haven't taken serious care about the soil health. Our country is a very ancient country, and our agriculture is centuries old. So we were taking crops after crops from the same soil. In olden times, we were applying lot of organic matter back into the soil, so that the soil health is maintained.
Yeah.
But with the advent of chemical fertilizers in this country, let's say about 40 years or 50 years back, chemical fertilizers initially, it is very impressive. If you apply little chemical fertilizers, the production is very good and very impressive. So the farmers probably neglected the putting the organic matter back into the soil. They started depending only on the chemical fertilizers, which of course over a period of time has deteriorated and resulted in deterioration of the soil health. So now of course if we look after our soil in a better way by regularly applying organic matter and apply little supplement it with chemical fertilizers, then we can bring it back. Then our productivity will go up. Then the exportable surplus will be in an assured quantity.
Yeah, rightly you said, sir. First we have to produce at least surplus production. Then we can think about the production. But still I would like to tell some data regarding our export of agricultural commodity at present. Currently India is exporting one agriculture produce at the cost of 163 billion rupees. And if we see in terms of position in the world, India comes at 39th position in terms of the cereal and prepared, cereal and cereal based preparation export item. And if we see in terms of the vegetable and fruit export, we are at 29th position. This is the position of India in exporting different agriculture based products across the world. Now still it is, if we see the world level scenario of agricultural product in terms of rupees or in terms of dollar, still we are lagging behind. 39th position and 29th position, it's not a healthy sign, being the world's most second most populous country in the world, as well as we are having maximum our population engaged in agriculture. If you see that population presently engaged in agriculture, it crosses 60% of our population, 60-61% population is still engaged in agriculture. So such a huge population is engaged. We are ranking as 39th or say 29th position. Now I would like to ask something that in what ways we can transform. Of course you have told that we should maintain our fertility level, we should improve our soil health level, we should improve our production. But still there are certain gaps which needs to be fulfilled. Suppose if at all we are able to produce surplus crops, surplus production, surplus processed material we could generate, still it is not exported. What are the barriers in this, in such type of the export? I would like to ask the faculty from School of Agriculture who is sitting left to me, Dr. P.K. Jain, that please highlight, sir, what are the issues or what are the barriers which are really creating hindrance. But first let me ask one thing more before you start speaking. Please highlight that what is the current scenario exact. If anybody asks literally that what is the current scenario of agriculture in India in terms of production, in terms of its export, how much export percentage is going as export product. I think you are following my point.
Yeah,
and secondly, you please highlight those which are the issues really creating hindrance in exporting our product across the country.
Yeah,
So Dr.
Dr. Yadav, India is the largest producer of milk, fruits, pulses, cashew nuts, and tea in the world.
Yes.
And the second largest producer of the rice and wheat in the world. And fourth largest in the coarse grain production.
Yes.
Yeah, Doctor. India is also one of the largest producer of the cotton, sugarcane, peanuts, jute, and assortment of spices.
Yes. Yes.
Here, India's agricultural growth after independence remain impressive. Around 2/3 of this production is aided by the crop productivity gain only.
Yes.
Yeah, India has achieved very impressive in the food grain production, which has increased more than 4 times during the planned era of our development.
Yes.
Yeah, spectacular growth in agriculture sector is possible by improving the yield level. The structural reforms initiated recently have facilitated high export of various commodities of agriculture.
Yes.
The growth rate of agriculture export has accelerated from the 11.9% in the 1980s to 18.6% in the 1990s. The proportion of agri export to total export is stable even though it slipped down from 11.9% in 2003-4 to 10.2% on 2004-5. The proportion of agri imports to total imports also came down from 4.7% in 2003-4 to 3.5% in 2004-5. WTO is opening international market access for agricultural commodity and food items. For countries like India to have a strong agriculture base, agriculture trade liberalization provides new market opportunities.
Yes. That's why we are very much concerned about our agriculture export.
Yeah.
Rather, we should also concern that what are the shortcomings in our export.
Yes.
Still, we can export, we can feed so many countries where fruit grains are not there, or the country is suffering because of less production, because you know that in our FCI godowns there are millions of the food grain, they are lying here and there and getting rotted or eaten by the rats simply. So we should also look into the matter what are the hindrance or what are the really problems which are creating. As I said earlier, that please highlight these issues also. What are the issues in export?
I mean, Dr. Yadav, if you permit me,
yes, sir, of
I
course.
will like to give a little, analyze the little background of this.
Okay, Dr. Sahab, let Dr. Jara sir then please.
For example, till recently, we were not very serious about exporting our agriculture products. As I said, we were rather,
skeptical sort of thing.
No, we were rather consuming it ourselves. We were not very serious in exporting and earning money.
So this is some sort of subsistence type of fund.
Mainly because we didn't have a sustained surplus level. But now, of course, with the economy going up and agriculture getting better attention in the 11th plan, we suppose that the agriculture production will go up and there will be an exportable surplus also. But so far, of course, whenever we had surplus, like for example, basmati, we used to export. But other items, till about 6 years back, wheat we never exported. But when we had surplus stocks in wheat, we started exporting it. But initially there were problems. Many countries were not ready to buy wheat from India because they were saying that no, it is Karnal Bund is in maybe there. But we talked to those buying countries and convinced them that look, India is free from Karnal Bund. So nothing wrong in this thing. Now, of course, our wheat, many countries buy from our thing. Of course, it's a different story that this year we had to
import rather.
We had to import little.
One thing, sir, I would like also to add. Just a supplement. We are still not able to learn that how to marketize our product. The one we have to accept, because whatever the food grains lying in the FCI godowns, or in different, still our public distribution system has not been strengthened. Otherwise, you see in our part of our, in several part of our country, people are still dying by hunger. We are not able to. Of course, and moreover, if we want to export it, can we change in some other form, like noodles they are preparing? Can we make something else out of the which are grain which we are having? This type of the preparation, which can be a sort of you mean
value addition?
Yeah, value addition sort of thing, and taking consideration of the word demand. Of course, that has to be taken care of. Otherwise, you are preparing noodles and it is not being exported or by the consumer. It is getting wasted. So, can we have we analyzed the properly the word need?
Yeah.
Not yet. I mean, we are now, conscious about our, as you said rightly, that our exports should be enhanced or like that. But still, I think we are not marching with the pace at which we are required to march, rather.
Yeah, that's true. Say, for example, I said that so far we were not very serious in exporting our agriculture commodities. But the moment we have surplus, we will have a agricultural export strategy, a sustained, so that we can export it on a sustained level. And till recently, we were only exporting the agriculture commodities as it is. For example, basmati, the wheat, and vegetables, and some fruits we were exporting. But when we have, an assured level of surplus, we can think of value adding to that. And it is definitely a possibility, and that's why the Government of India and the Ministry of Food Processing Industries, they are encouraging some sort of, the value added exports. Even, of course, the Commerce Ministry and the Agriculture and Processed Food Exports Development Authority, they are also saying that we should be prepared for value addition and capture a good percentage of the world market in that.
Yeah, rightly. And sir, I would like now to ask to Dr. Jain that please highlight those which are the issues, because we are running.
Yeah, to increase our exports here, we have to address our food safety issues. The food item to be treated in the international market would have to be raised and arranged for trading in accordance with accepted norms. Accepted norms and standard for export trade. Food safety is the important issue in such context. The exporting country would have to ensure that the commodity under shipment is free from the presence of the foodborne hazards. This safety traceability would have to be ensured till the traded food item reaches the point of consumption. Normally, the food reaches the consumer via supply chain that may link many different types of organization. One weak link can result in unsafe food that is dangerous to health, as food safety hazard can occur to the food chain at any stage. Adequate control inspection throughout the supply chain is essential.
Yeah, of course it is right. And food safety as a trade barrier also it is there, as you have rightly highlighted. Now please can you throw some light on the particular items of agriculture which are being exported from our country? I mean presently what sort of item we are exporting? Please can you highlight it?
We are exporting all the types of this. Mainly the basmati and non-basmati rice we are
Yes.
Wheat, of course, this year we are importing. Otherwise, wheat also we have imported.
We exported. Sorry,
we are exporting. Then fruits and vegetables. Then preservating and value-added product from fruits and vegetables also. We are also exporting tea and cashew nut also. So this type of item we are exporting this presently.
And Dr. Jain, can you highlight something about the ISO standards which are meant for the overcoming food, safety, or what sort of ISO standards are available while we are exporting any sort of agriculture produce from our country or across the world? Happening?
International Organization for Standardization (ISO) has published ISO 2000-2005 Food Safety Management System requirement for any organization in the food chain, with a view to provide framework for internationally harmonized requirement for systematically managing safety in food supply chains. Subsequently, the Bureau of Indian Standards has adopted the international standard as ISO 2000-2005.
Yes.
This standard integrates the principle of hazard analysis and critical control point system developed by Codex Alimentation Commission and combines the HACCP plan with the prerequisite program and is fully compatible with the quality management system as per the ISO 9001-2000.
Yeah. Now, thank you, Dr. Jain. It's really interesting to know at least what are the standards available, what are the barriers which are there in the field of agriculture export from our country or from any other country across the world. Now, the question I would like to ask to Dr. Jairaj, sir, there are, several hue and cry about the Codex Alimentarius, HACCP, HACCP. I think most of the our farmers or most of the even academics which are not gone through such type of the literatures, and if they are venturing in the export oriented enterprise, can you please elaborate these things? What are these things? How they are applicable? How they have been mentioned? Where they are available? These Codex Alimentarius and this hackup. What are these things, sir?
Yeah, to begin with, the WTO has opened up world agricultural trade.
Yeah, across the world.
Across the world. Earlier, of course, many countries used to prevent access for agricultural commodities from other countries. They used to put a brake on that by putting a very high duty on that. They were doing this mainly to protect their own domestic farmers. But now, according to WTO, they say that no, the maximum tariff you can impose on agricultural commodity, they have listed. Beyond this, you can't do. So that means, of course, many things where we will have a surplus, we can export it to
of course. I think
any
that
countries.
could have been the reason.
Now,
that's why
those countries cannot put a barrier by putting a tax.
heavy duty.
Heavy duty. But of course, then the countries are also clever because when they realize that no, they can't prevent entry of goods from other countries through this route, tariff route, they try to make use of this food safety as a
barrier
route. They will say that no, Codex Alimentarius. So according to that, of course, our standard is little high. Your whatever you produce has to be to meet the specifications of the Codex Alimentarius levels. Now, of course, we have to educate our farmers.
Yeah,
if you want to export,
very essential.
You have to meet these standards, and to meet these standards, you have to prepare your production right from preparation of soil to application of irrigation water, manures, harvesting, and then chilling and cooling and packing. Till that this thing, every level you have to keep the safety records, so that to satisfy the authorities of those country, as well as even the consumer, we will have to put a barcode on the packet.
As we see that in different products which are available, like toys and other sort of thing, there is a label, and when it is put before a laser beam sort of thing,
computer,
then everything is there beside on the screen, isn't it? Like that, I think you are talking.
So we have to, a farmer who produces for the export market will have to record all these different stages and different details of production and put it in a computer barcoding system in the packet. So if the consumer or the authorities in the buying countries, they want to know all this thing, so we are very open. We have to provide all those details. We had to prepare our farmers
according to that standards
for these sort of standards. This is so we had to cross over not only the tariff barrier, we had to also cross this food safety barriers,
as Dr. P.K. Jain has told that what are the barriers which are there. And another thing I asked you, sir, besides Codex Alimentarius, there is HACCP, HACCP, that is hazard analysis and control, critical control point. Let me educate my viewers that what are the implications of this HACCP for exporting any product. If we are producing, how the HACCP can be applied to see whether it is feasible for export or not, or whether it is safety with respect to food item or not. Please, can you elaborate, sir? HACCP.
No, I would say that no, HACCP is a further improvement on Codex Alimentarius. So, where of course, this is basically, I think, devised for the space flights, space flights food safety standards. It was devised. And of course, naturally, of course, the authorities found out that this is a very good safety assessment and application system, and they are adopting that. Of course, it's a slight improvement on Codex Alimentarius, and we are, in India, we are preparing our farmers even to meet these safety standards.
Yeah.
So,
But I think if we are able to educate, sorry to intervene you, if we are able to educate our farmers about Codex Alimentarius, HACCP and other, there are certain hidden sort of barriers, like you told that heavy duty, maybe some other their country's own specific barrier which are not highlighted, in this way. If suppose a farmer meets I would like to ask sir, that if farmer meets the Codex Alimentarius standards and HACCP analysis standards, can he export his produce to?
As far as agriculture produce are concerned, I think these two standards will take care entry into most of the countries. But of course, certain countries, if they want to be, they can put new conditions. But then if they put new conditions, we can also think of surmounting that condition. It's not a difficult thing.
Means the WTO will keep a sort of watching if anybody suppose, okay, I would ask in another way, that if a person meets the Codex Alimentarius standards and HACCP analysis standards, whatever it is there, if still it's his or her product is not taken up by any country, or it is rather a country imposes something else, can WTO take care of all these things?
We can go to WTO and
I think
file a complaint.
we need to analyze this aspect also.
Okay. The first responsibility for us and our farmers is that meet these standards.
That we can teach. It is sort of teaching to them.
Yeah, teaching, and then of course, there are a lot of farmers who are doing exports. Say, for example, the vegetables from Rajasthan. It's going organically produced vegetables are going even to the United States, and there, of course, the United States Food and Drug Administration standards are met by these farmers, our farmers. So it's not a difficult thing. Only thing is that we had to be little prepared for that,
naturally,
and we had to systematically follow the things. So even if some countries makes a extra special condition that no, these are our specific safety conditions, we can do that. We have to teach our farmers how to do that.
Right.
So there the role of education institutions
and
like
curriculum
us,
development and then pedagogic method of teaching, like that, this come into picture. Let me just remind to my viewers that here we are discussing about the different curriculum or the courses which are being taken up by our university IGNOU with respect to agriculture export. Means what are the parameters of export, what are the barriers in export, how we can refine our product so that it can be acceptable to our farmers. So we are now discussing about our Indian economy, how it is progressing, how our farmers are not pacing up with the Indian economy. I think if our farmer can export or produce agriculture produce more, our economy may go up. I think Dr. Jaraj will agree with this statement, that if we can keep little bit pace with our growing economy and growing industrial export, if agriculture export can be made somewhere to run little bit with the pace of which others are moving, we can at least contribute in Indian economy more.
Yeah, definitely. Indian economy is growing, and the Indian agriculture, though at the moment the picture is not very bright. We expect in the 11th 5-year plan agriculture will be able to pick up and generate exportable surpluses. Then India is bound to become a major agricultural commodities and processed food exporting country. And to be ready for that, we had to educate our farmers, educate our exporters, and how to meet the different standards being put up by the world liberalized world agricultural trade. So we are this thing. So as a university, IGNOU and its School of Agriculture is getting ready for
such type of
teaching the farmers how
efforts.
To do that.
So friends, we are actually discussing about the economy, agricultural scenario, what are the items being exported from our country, what are the lacuna, first we are discussing all these things, then we are coming to the agricultural courses which are being taken up by our school. But it will be taken up in another session, which is after this session. Before that, I would ask to Dr. P.K. Jain that please can you highlight about the present scenario of organic farming in agriculture, as well as what are the organic products being exported from our country, means all those things related to organic only. Because Dr. Jairaj, you might be knowing that before Dr. Jan proceeds, I would like to just add, rather ask you that nowadays you must be hearing so much hue and cry about organic products, organic agricultural products. So it is taken up by our country as well. So I think it is right, it is good here to listen something about organic farming as well. What is the present status of organic farming? What are the organically produced product which are being exported from our country? Dr. Jain is going to highlight all those issues.
Yeah,
So Dr. Jain?
first I want to tell what is the organic farming. Organic agriculture is a unique production management system which promotes and enhances agro ecosystem health, including biodiversity, biological cycles, and soil biological activity. And this is accomplished by using on-farm economic, biological, and mechanical methods in exclusion of all synthetic off-farm inputs. Demand for organic foods is increasing.
Yeah, it is obvious because there are worldwide demand of organic products. People are very much conscious about their health, so they may be thinking that the organic produce are safer. Okay, please, Dr. Jan, please go quickly because we have to finish our session.
It's a break, I suppose.
And,
according to the survey of the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movement in 2003, India has about 41,000 hectares of land under organic management.
Yeah,
it is the 0.03% of the total agricultural land in the country. So there is a lot of scope to increase organic farming in India. The Indian organic farming industry estimated $20 millions in India.
Means we are exporting at the cost of, with the value of 100 crores rupees.
100 crores rupees. The mainly tea, coffee, spices, fruits, vegetable, organic basmati rice, cotton, neem, dried nut, oil, seeds, sesame mainly. Then pulses and sugar we are importing as organic.
Exporting.
We are exporting.
So I think that we should first bind up this first session. Friends, we have discussed about the agricultural scenario, Indian economy. Again, I am repeating the same thing which I repeated earlier. And we have also come to the point where our organic products are being exported from our country. So in the next session we will be highlighting rather more about organic aspect of our agricultural production, and then we will be describing the agricultural courses which are taken up with the consideration of improving our agricultural export from our country. So this is all about the first session, and in the next session we are meeting shortly to discuss about these issues in detail, about the course development, what sort of the courses, what are the eligibility criteria, how the IGNOU has thought about to develop such type of the courses, which are agencies involved in certifying or in collaborating with the for the development of this type of the courses. So I think that we should be now overcoming, stopping our discussion and hoping that meet in the next session. Thank you.